Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to Bank Shot Basketball, where we're always keeping it 100. Man, it's really feeling like 100 today. It feeling like 100 degrees. We got 5 coaches on the hot seat. We're going to be breaking down the season, the playoffs. We're going to be going over these coaches' records and why they're on the hot seat. So just kick back, relax, grab something cold to drink, because it's going to get hot up in here. So these seats, they're simmering hot, so we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get straight into it. And we're going to start off here in Sacramento. We're going to start off with Luke Walton. That's right. We're going to talk about his past, present, and maybe even his future. So Luke Walton was hired by the Sacramento Kings. He was hired by then GM Vlade Divac. So Luke Walton was brought in to replace Dave Joerger. Dave Joerger, pretty good coach. He's won on a lot of different levels, but he was having some problems with the front office. He wasn't the most friendliest person, so Vlade Divac was looking for a change, and he went down to LA and brought up Luke Walton. Now, Luke Walton has bounced around all over California. He's been associated with the Lakers, the Kings, and the Warriors. And the Warriors is where Luke actually got his start. So Luke Walton was an assistant coach for Steve Kerr. At one point, Steve Kerr was out and away from the team, and Luke Walton stepped in, and during that time, the team went 39-4. Now, you got to keep in mind, this was strength in numbers. This was one of the best Warriors teams. You had Curry at his prime, Klay Thompson at his peak, Draymond Green playing good. They had a good team going. Okay, Luke Walton goes 39-4. He shows he can run the show with the Warriors. He gets an opportunity with the Lakers. Jeanie Buss is looking for a coach. He's a former player there. They bring him in and give him opportunity with a young Lakers team at the time. He coached guys like Lonzo, Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram, and the team wasn't having a lot of success. Now people say, hey, well, that's a young team. He can't do much with them. Well, there is also LeBron James, who came over from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, when LeBron was there were high points where the Lakers were a high seed, and there was also low points when they dropped back down. One person who wasn't a fan of Luke Walton was Magic Johnson, who was running the show at the time. As I said, the Lakers, they're known for being good. Magic Johnson wanted to get back to the Lake Show. Under Luke Walton, it was more of a no-show. You can't be 98 and 148. There was times where Luke Walton and Magic Johnson didn't talk. In fact, there's a quote out there where they didn't talk for weeks. In the end, Magic Johnson ended up resigning, and Luke Walton ended up being fired. Okay, I understand. Things didn't work out in LA. He struggled with the young Lakers team. He struggled coaching LeBron James. Things didn't work out for Luke there. Alright, so he gets another opportunity here in Sacramento. Okay, so let's compare and contrast right here. You got Dave Joerger, who's an experienced coach, but he doesn't get along with the players or the front office that well. You got Luke Walton here, who's not as experienced, but is seen as a more likable person, seen as more friendly, seen as what could be a player's coach. Well, spoiler alert, as you can see, Luke's record with the Kings is 59-78. Things haven't worked out. In fact, the man that hired him is gone now, Vlade Divac. We have a new GM in Monte McNair, and the belief is that Monty will want to bring in his own person. That's just kind of how it goes. When you bring in a new GM, they're going to want their own coach. They're going to want someone that's going to follow their same philosophies. I recently did a video called Sacramento 5-0, and it's paying a little respect to De'Aaron Fox, number 5, and Tyrese Halliburton, number 0. And it talks about how the Sacramento Kings have a potentially great backcourt. And it also details some of the shortcomings the Sacramento Kings has, such as having one of the worst defenses in the league. What's the future for Luke Walton? I'm going to go on a limb and say he's probably going to end up getting fired. But hey, this isn't a video just about the Kings. We got other teams to get to, so let's keep it moving. Next up on the list, we're going to cover the Washington Wizards. We're going to talk about their head coach, Scotty Brooks. Scott's record with the Wizards is 179-204. He's had a pretty decent career with them so far. Regular season has been okay. There's been times where they've had some playoff success, but they've never really gotten to the Eastern Finals. Okay, so let's go ahead and break down Scott Brooks' numbers. We have him right here in front of us. He's 12-22 in the playoffs. Now, there's been times where Scott Brooks has made deep runs. There's been times where his team's been out kind of early. Now, the front office in Washington, they're probably sitting back thinking, could we do better? Could we find someone that can maybe take us further along here? They're probably starting to get that feeling. Now, Scott Brooks, he actually is a player's coach. His players tend to like him a lot. In this picture, we have Russell Westbrook, who was a player for him in the Oklahoma City Thunder. In the offseason, he was traded to the Wizards, and people thought, okay, Scott Brooks is back with one of his best players. They're going to connect, they're going to click, and things are going to work out great for them, right? Well, so far, Bill and Brooks are 25 and 25 together. So if you're a person that's always checking the box score, if you're a person that's always reading the headlines, you'll know Bill is putting up big numbers this year. He's averaging 30. And Russell Westbrook, once again, he's putting up those big triple doubles. He's putting them up almost every other night. So why isn't the team winning? So their defensive rating is actually 19th. They're kind of at the bottom of the pack of the NBA when it comes to playing defense. Offensively, these guys are getting it done. Bill is one of the top scorers in the league. As I said, Russell Westbrook is constantly getting those triple doubles. So offensively, they're getting the job done. As usual, it's that defense. Players aren't playing defense and getting that done. So as I've mentioned multiple times now, Scotty Brooks is a player's coach, and his players aren't giving up on him. Westbrook isn't giving up on him. Bradley Beal isn't giving up on him. And it's reported that he's still extremely well liked within the Wizards circles. So the players want to keep Scotty around. The organization tends to like them, but they want to get to that next level. They can't be at the bottom of the East fighting for a play-in game. They have to be at least within the playoffs. So maybe that's a reason why Scott Brooks has ended up on the hot seat. Now, one coach that ended up on this list that's a bit surprising to me and probably surprising to a lot of people is Mike Budenhauser. Mike Budenhauser is one of the best coaches in the NBA. We have his coaching career right here. His record is 370 and he only has 260 losses. Budenhauser has been a great coach. He came over from Atlanta where he coached that team up and did great. And he came in to replace Jason Kidd, who was a player coach that Giannis really liked a lot. Now let's take a look at his numbers. Now with the Bucks, he's 157 and he only has 63 losses. That's a hell of a coach. I don't understand why the Bucks are giving up on him so early. I understand that they want to cater to Giannis and they want to keep him happy and they want to win championships, but you're giving up on a coach that's been very successful in a short amount of time already. Now, unlike some of the other coaches on this list, Mike Budenhauser has had decent playoff success with the Bucks. He's 15 and 10 in his playoff coaching career. And he's gotten the most out of his players. Offensively, they played great. Defensively, they played great. I think it would be a shame if Mike Budenhauser is fired this offseason. But one thing's for sure, if he is fired, he will find another home. That's for sure. Now, one coach that's on the hot seat is Terry Stotts. He coaches the Portland Trail Blazers and he has a record of 396 with 317 losses. Now, the players in Portland, they like Terry Stotts, but he hasn't been getting it done for them. In fact, I just recently did a whole video on the Portland Trail Blazers. It's called Loyalty, Loyalty, Loyalty. Is this the last chance for Damon Portland? And in that video, I talk about the head coaching. I talk about the defense, the offense. I break down how they lost the playoffs to teams like the Warriors. Now, losing to the Warriors is nothing to be ashamed about. A lot of teams lost to the Warriors in the past few years. They've had one of the best teams of all time. They've had some of the best players of all time. Now, the problem is they haven't just lost to the Warriors. They've lost to teams like the Pelicans. They struggled with teams like the Denver Nuggets. The Portland Trail Blazers have had a tough time with teams like the Lakers recently. Last year in the bubble, the Portland Trail Blazers, they took on the Lakers, and it was supposed to be an exciting series, but it didn't really live up to that. Damian Lillard was the BVP, and they had CJ McCollum, they had Nurkic, they had all their guys, yet they just kind of fell flat. They didn't really look like they belonged out there with the Lakers, which was kind of surprising. So let's bring it back to Terry Stotts. He has a playoff record of 20 and 36. Now, that's okay, that's not too bad. And the thing is, his players like him a lot, but it's kind of looking like time is running out in Portland. It's kind of looking like either the players are going to get moved or the coach has to go. And in this case, for this episode, we're going to focus on the coach. The Portland Trail Blazers could upgrade from Terry Stotts. There are better coaches out there. Do I think he's bad? No, I think he would find another job, but I think his time in Portland has come to an end. Okay, so now we get to our final coach here, the coach of the Indiana Pacers, Nate. I'm not going to even try to read his last name, but he has a coaching record of 30 and 34. He was brought in to replace Nate McMillan. Now, let me tell you something. Nate McMillan, that's big shoes to fill. Nate McMillan is a great coach. He did great in Portland. He's done great with Team USA, and recently he's done good with the Atlanta Hawks. Nate was an assistant coach for Nick Nurse with the Toronto Raptors. As everyone knows, the Toronto Raptors recently won the championship with Kawhi Leonard, so he's a pretty coveted assistant coach to try to pick up. Now, Nate, he's only been with the Indiana Pacers for a short amount of time, yet he's already upset some players, he's already ticked off some people in the front office, and there's a lot of reports coming out that people aren't agreeing with his style. They're saying he's too abrasive, he's too into analytics, and he's already just getting off to a bad start with this organization, and it's so bad that they're already considering getting rid of him. So let's go ahead and put a bow in this video. We broke it down. We talked about Scotty Brooks with the Wizards. We broke down Luke Walton and the Kings. We talked about Terry Stotts. We talked about the Pacers, even the Milwaukee Bucks. So we went over the 5 coaches on the hot seat who could be fired this offseason. It was a wild ride. I'm gonna need something to drink after all this. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to share it with your friends, share it with your neighbor, share it with anybody that you know that likes basketball. Word of mouth helps a lot, so I appreciate it. Feel free to post it on social media as well. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, and once again, this is Bank Shot Basketball. We're always keeping it 100. Hope everyone has a great day, and once again, if you have any disagreements, let me know in the comments. My name's Leezy, and I am out of here. See you.